you've met a terrible fate, haven't you? Only joking. Hi, my name is Callum John and welcome to 3 Facts and Theories, a show where we present to you 3 facts and 3 theories about a particular nerdy show. And as presented by our Majoras Mask, made by my brother Philip, we're going to be doing The Legend of Zelda. And for my first little tip for fact, which isn't one of the 3, this is Link. Not what a lot of people would call him, Zelda. She's a princess. Different characters. So, without further ado, let's get on with 3 facts! The Legend of Zelda wouldn't have existed if Shigeru Miyamoto didn't explore. Shigeru Miyamoto grew up in a small town called Sonobe, located around half an hour south of Kyoto. Miyamoto didn't have many toys and his family didn't own a TV, so Shigeru spent most of his time roaming the countryside unsupervised. During his wanderings, he would often get himself lost and stumble into unexpected things, including one day a deep dark hole. Now most parents tend to keep their children away from deep dark pits, but Miyamoto's weren't around, so he grabbed a lantern, crawled in and discovered an entire cave system. The sense of wonder and discovery that Miyamoto experienced during his childhood adventures formed the spiritual basis for The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda was originally going to be set in the future. I know it sounds very difficult to believe, as in The Legend of Zelda is one of the best known fantasy series of all time, but according to Miyamoto, The Legend of Zelda was going to have a much more ambitious storyline, and would take place in present-day Hyrule and the future. This meant that some staples of The Legend of Zelda series were intentionally technological in nature. For instance, instead of collecting the magical Triforce pieces, you were originally rounding up some special microchips. Yeah, 'cause that sounds more interesting, doesn't it? Also, Link got his somewhat unique name from the fact that he was supposed to be the link between the past and the future. One of the most famous sequences in gaming of all time. In the first Legend of Zelda, you playing as Link wanders into the first cave and encounters an old man who tells you it's dangerous to go alone. Take this, then gives you your first sword. Well, up until fairly late in the development, you were meant to start with the sword in your inventory. But to make the game just a little bit more confusing, Nintendo focus tested The Legend of Zelda before release, and most players complained about the game was confusing, or that they kept getting lost. Rather than fix the game, Miyamoto insisted on changes that were making the game even more complex and confusing, including starting off the player without the means to defend himself. Miyamoto's logic was that making Zelda so complex would force kids to share information with their friends and foster a sense of community around the game. And this worked! So that was 3 facts about The Legend of Zelda. You know, I own this Ocarina of Time. I found it in a chest one time when adventuring, and in the games it allows you to, well, travel through time. I've never really tried it out before. Let's find out. Weird. On with the theories. Why was I fine going with a lightsaber? The bad guys in Twilight Princess also created the Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is such an oddity when compared to the other Zelda games, but Majora stands on its own as it's really rare for a main console Legend of Zelda game to have nothing to do with Hyrule. But that's not to say that Majora's Mask doesn't have any links to the more traditional entries in the series. You can spot some clear references to Majora's Mask in the character designs of the Twilight Princess. For example, Twilight Princess villain Zant, whose festive scarf bit wears a design that invokes Majora's creepy eyes. Then there's Minda's mask, otherwise known as the Fuse Shadow, created by the villainous Twilight. That pupil unmistakably looks like Majora's. Maybe most interesting is the unused version of the Twilight Princess's Ganondorf, who has the face of Majora plastered onto his chest plate. Thing is, this theory also worked as part of the canon, because according to Nintendo's official Legend of Zelda timeline, Majora's Mask and the Twilight Princess take place in the same era. And that's not all. In Twilight Princess, it's revealed that the Dastardly Twilight were once called the Interlopers, a race who was sealed in the Twilight Realm after trying to get the Triforce. Now compare that with what the Happy Mask salesman says about the Majora's Mask. The mask that was stolen from me. It's called Majora's Mask. It is an accursed item from legend that is said to have been used by an ancient tribe in its hexes rituals. According to the legend, the troubles caused by Majora's Mask are so great, ancient ones fearing such catastrophe sealed the mask in the shadow forever, preventing its misuse. This now looks like a really undeniable link between Twilight Princess and Majora's Mask. All the Legend of Zelda games are a dream. Have you ever noticed every Zelda game opens with Link sleeping? On one level, it's played for laughs, but it also symbolizes the hero's courage awakening inside of him as he begins his adventure. Still, it feels so uncharacteristic of Link to sleep in, given that once a game, he starts off and won't go back to sleep until the Triforce is saved and Ganon is defeated. So what if Link was dreaming of all his adventures? That would explain why there were so many familiar themes and places, and why history kind of repeats itself. And also would explain the really weird timeline that Nintendo released for us as being its official, because this makes perfect sense to splitting off into
Hey, listen!
Okay, let's move on. So maybe every time Link wakes up, it's an indication that the previous game was a dream. Even though this probably would be one of the most lamest reveals ever. But then again, remember the twist ending from the end of Super Mario 2? There's a fourth piece to the Triforce. Okay, I know that sounds really stupid, as in it's called the Triforce, as in tri, meaning free, for the three pieces of the Triforce, wisdom, courage, and power. But look again, there's absolutely a spot for the fourth Triforce in the dead center. That hole is the perfect size to fit another piece. What other piece? Just check out Link's shield from the Ocarina of Time. On the top of the shield, you can see the Triforce, and then at the bottom, it's clearly you can see the fourth piece. That piece perfectly matches what's been missing from the Triforce for so many years. This theory also has backing as the prevalence of so many things in the Legend of Zelda series coming in fours. For example, the 4 light spirits in Twilight Princess, the 4 giants that prevent the moon from crashing into Termina in Majora's Mask, and the 4 Swords games. Sadly, the series creator Shigeru Miyamoto has denied this theory to be true, but it's fun to speculate these type of things. So that was our 3 facts and theories about the Legend of Zelda. If you like this video, maybe leave us a like, comment and subscribe to the Nerdemic YouTube channel, as well as like us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up to date with the Nerdemic content that we release, as well as check out New Now for the Nerdemic live show. I've been Callum John, and this has been 3 Facts and Theories.